Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly...
This is the voice of the United States broadcasting in the desolate wastelands of the world. This is Enclave Radio. I am your host, Alan Morgan, and I'd like to welcome all of you that are listening throughout the wastelands. We have been off the air for far too long, but it's good to say that we are back in action. Unfortunately, America, we are not back in action the way we would like to be. For those of you who are older listeners that might remember us before we were dropped off the air, it used to be the president who would do these addresses, and well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, America, but President John Henry Eden is dead. We got confirmation not too long ago from one of our scouts that managed to come back from the Capitol Wasteland where John Henry Eden was residing, and let me just tell you right now, America, this is a tragedy. This is a tragedy of amazing perspective. You might remember that our last president, President Richardson, was also assassinated. Yeah, I'm afraid I did use that term, America. John Henry Eden was assassinated at his compound in Raven Rock in Washington, D.C., and from all indications, the members of the Brotherhood of Steel are responsible for his death. This is a sad day, America. I am being asked to step into shoes that no one could fill. John Henry Eden was the greatest man this country has ever produced. After President Richardson's assassination, he took the shattered remains of our country and he moved it with the sole goal of securing this nation's great capital. But he did not go there alone. Oh no. The Brotherhood of Steel, those xenophobic technophiles, after getting their asses handed to them in California, decided to move out to the east as well. Now, I'd just like to take a minute and address all the Enclave listeners out there. There is absolutely no basis for the rumor that is flying around that the Brotherhood used some kind of super robot to attack our troops. That's absolutely ludicrous, and I'm not even going to accept that as anywhere close to what actually happened. So how did it happen, America? How did the President of the United States die? Who's responsible? Well, I'll tell you the truth, America. We're responsible. All of us. Every man, woman, and child living in this great nation. The forces of darkness came knocking on our doors, and we did nothing to stop it. They say the meek shall inherit the earth, but as we all know, America, only the strong survive. And we, sadly, we're not strong enough to protect our president. It's our burden of shame, our cross to bear, which is why, America, we need to stop these petty squabbles and breaking into separate factions and join together as one race, one voice, one enclave.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the fateful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. I have seen him in the watchfires of 100
The Enclave wishes to remind all scavengers and squatters out there in the wasteland that military bases, power plants, and manufacturing facilities are still the property of the United States government and are off-limits to civilians. Many of these facilities retain their fully operational security systems or were the site of hazardous research and are extremely dangerous. Please, for your own safety, heed all visible warning signs and respect the property of the United States. If you have come into possession of U.S. government hardware, be it a holotape, laser pistol, or even a functional T-45D or T-51B suit, please return it immediately to the nearest Enclave representative for processing. All turn-ins will be granted a finder's fee and free medical checkups courtesy of the Enclave.
There's a yellow rose in Texas that I am gonna see. Nobody else could miss her, not half as much as me. She cried so when I left her, it like to broke my heart. And if I ever find her, we never more will part. She's the sweetest little rosebud that Texas ever knew. Her eyes are bright as diamonds, they sparkle like the dew. You may talk about your clementine and sing of Rosalie, but the yellow rose of Texas is the only girl for me. Where the Rio Grande is flowing and starry skies are bright, she walks along the river in the quiet summer night. I know that she remembers when we parted long ago. I promised to return and not to leave her so. She's the sweetest little rosebud that Texas ever knew. Her eyes are bright as diamonds, they sparkle like the dew. You may talk about your clementine and sing of Rosalie, but the yellow rose of Texas is the only girl for me. Oh, now I'm gonna find her, for my heart is full of woe. We'll do the things together we did so long ago. We'll play the banjo gaily, she'll love me like before, and the yellow rose of Texas shall be mine forevermore. She's the sweetest little rosebud that Texas ever knew. Her eyes are bright as diamonds, they sparkle like the dew. You may talk about your clementine and sing of Rosalie, but the yellow rose of Texas is the only girl for me. La 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 la
Hello again, sweet America. It's your host, Alan Morgan, here on Enclave Radio. I would like to take some time out and discuss a very serious problem involving everyone out there in the wasteland. The problem is, of course, ghouls. We've all seen them. We all know someone who knows someone who knew someone who turned into one. But what are they really? Now, it's true there are some ghouls that have lived for hundreds of years. They even lived before the bombs fell. And some people believe that these creatures should be treated as everyday Americans, just highly irradiated Americans. But really, America, can you look me in the eye and tell me that ghouls are nothing but a bunch of harmless senior citizens? How many scavengers and prospectors out there in the waste go into some abandoned tunnel or military installation and get attacked by just hundreds of these raving mad lunatics that look like rotting corpses? I mean, is it any wonder we've taken to calling them zombies? Ghouls are a direct threat to the American way of life. And I, for one, will not stand for it. I will exercise my God-given Second Amendment right and blow them straight back to hell. And, well, if you're one of those zombie sympathizers, oh, sorry, I meant if you're one of those ghoul sympathizers, I say keep your head down. Wouldn't want you getting caught in the crossfire, would we?
Yes, we'll rally round the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. We will rally from the hillside, we'll gather from the plain, shouting the battle cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Bright in its glory shines every star. While we rally round the flag, boys, rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. We are springing to the call of our brothers gone before, shouting the battle cry of freedom, and we'll fill the vacant ranks with 1,000,000 patriots more, shouting the battle cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Bright in its glory shines every star. While we rally round the flag, boys, rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. Shouting the battle cry of freedom. From the Northland tried and true, from the Southland ever brave, shouting the battle cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Bright in its glory shines every star. While we rally round the flag, boys, rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom.
And now a friendly reminder from all of us here at the Enclave. Just because you can break into the safe doesn't mean you should. Many buildings survived the nuclear holocaust because they were subsidiaries of the United States government and were working on vital war projects. If any scavenger or prospector should come across any holotapes, hard copy documents, or working prototypes, do not disturb them. Believe it or not, the United States is still technically in a state of war, and that information is still a matter of national security. Do not, under any circumstances, share what information you may have gathered or seen, especially not to those communist sympathizers, the followers of the apocalypse. Working together, government and citizen, we can keep this nation of ours safe from enemies both foreign and domestic. Greetings to all my fellow patriots out there in the wasteland. My name is Alan Morgan, and you are listening to Enclave Radio. Let's discuss current events, shall we? Ammunition continues to flood into the East Coast, thanks to a chemical cesspool known as the Pit. It seems somewhat of influence in the region has managed to get the steel mills up and running again. Way to go, guys. In a related story, the Emergency Congress will meet later in the week to vote on allocating resources for an expeditionary force to establish contact with the leadership in the Pit and offer them all the benefits and hospitality the Enclave offers. There is still no evidence about the mysterious object that was observed falling from the sky 3 years ago. Enclave scientists speculate it was a malfunctioning orbital platform, likely of communist construction, that simply fell out of orbit. To those who have pointed out that nothing that big is documented in historical records, Enclave officials have stressed that despite our vast technological superiority over those godless Reds, it's entirely possible that something was snuck into orbit without our knowledge. Tribal villages from Point Lookout to the Mesa Verde have far more primitive and far more humorous viewpoints. Caesar's Legion is massing along the Colorado River for a push on the NCR-held Hoover Dam. Enclave military strategists speculate that the Legion will overwhelm the NCR forces and seize the dam. Caesar is on record as stating that all advanced forms of technology are off limits, so it's highly likely he will destroy the dam once across. As to the possibility of Enclave military intervention to save the dam, officials have said no comment. Finally, the Emergency Congress has voted today to extend their emergency powers and to not hold a presidential election until the current crisis has passed. According to one congressman, they had a civic duty to ensure that the Enclave leadership and vision remained consistent in these troubled times, and maintained that Enclave personnel have more important things to worry about than who to vote for. You heard it here first, America. Our nation is in great hands with men like that at the helm.
Over hill, over dale, we will hit the dusty trail, and those caissons go rolling along. Counter march right about, hear those wagon soldiers shout, while those caissons go rolling along. For it's hi, hi, he in the field artillery. Call off your numbers loud and strong. And wherever we go, you will always know that those caissons are rolling along. Keep on rolling, that those caissons are rolling along. Field artillery, call off your numbers loud and strong. And wherever we go, you will always know that those caissons are rolling along. Keep on rolling, that those caissons are rolling along.
Alan Morgan here for Enclave Radio, with another friendly reminder. Deserters are a sad, yet unavoidable fact of life. There are always a handful in any outfit who weren't caught by the psych tests and are unable to hack it and are highly motivated, highly disciplined fighting force. This is completely understandable, but that does not mean we should spare the rod on these people. Oh no, America. If anything, these men and women who were too cowardly to maintain the oath to their nation should be punished to the fullest extent of the law, if only to prove Uncle Sam plays no favorites. If you should come across an Enclave deserter in your travels, rare though they are, be advised that these people are likely mentally unstable and very hostile. Do not attempt to restrain them yourselves. Notify your nearest Enclave representative and let the proper government agency handle it. Working together, government and citizen, is the only way we can ensure this great nation survives. One race, one voice, one Enclave. God bless America. My name's Alan Morgan, and you are tuned in to Enclave Radio. Let's talk about government, shall we? It's not an easy concept to talk about, especially not when most people are struggling day to day just to survive, but I still feel it's a subject that needs to be addressed. For instance, there are a lot of choices out there for your average wastelander to feel that they don't owe the United States anything. They weren't born in the United States, they were born into the wasteland. And why should I give my allegiance to the Enclave when the new California Republic is there invisible? Or why should I give my allegiance to the Enclave when Caesar's Legion has just invaded my home village, burned and crucified everyone, and, set me up as a legionnaire? Or why do I even need a government? Me and my friends have formed a gang, we have guns, we're hitting caravans. Why do we need anything more? These are actually all very good points and very good questions, and I'd like to address them all in reverse order. First off, those of you who have a couple of buddies and a couple of functioning guns and are just parading around the wasteland doing whatever you'd like, you need to stop. Now, some people would say you need to stop because your activities are disrupting trade and impeding the return of civilization. I'm not a bleeding heart. I'm not going to tell you that. It's a simple matter of life expectancy. If you've got a couple of guns and leather armor and you're holed up in a little shack, it's only a matter of time before someone gets pissed off, kicks down your door, and gives you a shotgun blast to the face. That aggression, that desire to shoot other people, would be far better served in the service of your country. The Enclave can use people like you. Find your nearest representative and sign up. In regards to the Legion, I'm not going to address them directly because none of them listen to the radio. Why? Because they're all a bunch of savages. I mean, they enslave all their women, they crucify those who don't agree with them, and when a military commander is disappointing, they cover him in burning pitch and throw him off the Grand Canyon. Why, for sanity's sake, would anyone want to sign up with them? Okay, yes, I'll admit, there's been a lot of progress in the Southwest, according to our scouts, since Caesar's Legion took over. But you're still looking at a military dictatorship, which, from where I'm sitting, a military dictatorship is one step above a communist state. John Henry Eden said it best. Democracy is the worst form of government, except for all the other ones. That being said, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The new California Republic. It's a democracy. Nobody's denying that. It's still a secessionist state. The new California Republic was formed on United States soil. The Enclave is the United States government. Since the government never collapsed, the United States never collapsed. If the United States never collapsed, that means the new California Republic is an illegal democracy because it already resides within the boundaries of a pre-existing state. Still, it's not all that bad. The new California Republic modeled itself after the United States. It will be far easier to reintegrate back into United States society when the Enclave claims NCR territory as its own. And I'm not saying that as a threat. I don't want any of my listeners to think I am threatening them or their chosen way of life. I'm merely pointing out, as the rightful stewards of this country, the Enclave will eventually retake it. And since retaking it is inevitable, I ask my listeners this: why are you not already on the winning side?
When Johnny comes marching home again, hurrah, hurrah, we'll give him a hearty welcome then, hurrah, hurrah. Oh, the men will cheer, the boys will shout, the ladies, they will all turn out and we'll all feel gay when Johnny comes marching home. And we'll all feel gay when Johnny comes marching home. Get ready for the Jubilee, hurrah, hurrah. Give the hero 3 times 3, hurrah, hurrah. For the laurel wreath is ready now to place upon his loyal brow, and we'll all feel gay when Johnny comes marching home. And we'll all feel gay when Johnny comes marching home. In 1861, hurrah, hurrah. That was when the war begun, hurrah, hurrah. In 1862, both sides were falling to, and we'll all drink stone wine when Johnny comes marching home. And we'll all drink stone wine when Johnny comes marching home. In 1863, hurrah, hurrah, old lady ended slavery, hurrah, hurrah. In 1863, old lady ended slavery, and we'll all drink stone wine when Johnny comes marching home. And we'll all drink stone wine when Johnny comes marching home. In 1864, hurrah, hurrah, it called for 500,000 more, hurrah, hurrah. In 1865, they talked rebellious strife, and we'll all drink stone wine when Johnny comes marching home. And we'll all drink stone wine when Johnny comes marching home.
Welcome back to Enclave Radio. I'm your host, Alan Morgan. I'm sure a question on everyone's mind is, who are the Enclave? Well, that's an easy and difficult question to answer, America. If you asked the folks of New Arroyo, you'd probably be told the Enclave are heartless butchers. If you asked the folks of New Reno, you'd probably get the impression that the Enclave are slavers and drug pushers. Both of these examples are patently false, and I'm going to set the record straight. Firstly, on the charges emanating from New Reno, we are not drug pushers or slavers. Yes, under President Richardson, we did engage in trade for these products, but not for the reasons most people would think. President Richardson was an idealist and a kind-hearted man, and he opened the United States Treasury to correct terrible practices. The drugs that were purchased were used in research to discover cures, which directly resulted in the development of the anti-addiction compound known as Fixer. The slaves that were purchased were immediately freed. While many willingly stayed on to assist the Enclave, several others parted ways with their Enclave liberators and went off into the wastes. The fact that no one has heard from either of these groups since their departure from New Reno is not a malicious sign. The wasteland is a harsh place even for the well-equipped, let alone a malnourished individual without a knife to their name. And those former captives who stayed on to help the Enclave? Murdered by the same terrorists who assassinated President Richardson. The citizens of New Arroyo will tell you this individual, this chosen one, was a savior and liberator. They'll tell you about how the mean old Enclave destroyed the village of Arroyo in a daring raid to kidnap its population, and how we also seized Vault 13's population in an effort to conduct biological weapons tests. I think the residents of New Arroyo need to stop hitting the peyote so often. First of all, the massacre at Arroyo never happened. An Enclave Ibot happened to notice that the village was dying due to poor farming practices and general bad luck. By the time the Enclave became aware of the situation, the village was dying off anyway. What occurred was a rescue mission. President Richardson signed the executive order allowing Enclave troops to bring the villagers back to the oil rig for treatment and a hot meal, hoping to integrate them into the Enclave, or at the very least locate a more habitable place for them to live. Were some of the villagers in Arroyo shot? Yes, they were. In their delirium, some of the villagers attacked the Enclave troops. While no threat to our boys in power armor, these rabid individuals would have been a major threat to the pilots and medics within the transports. It's regrettable they had to be killed, but their deaths ensured the rest of the village would live. Vault 13 was a similar case. While their vault issued the all-clear notice, the decision to replace their overseer with a ZAC computer proved faulty, because the ZAC computer didn't register the large group of Deathclaws nesting in the area. The Enclave sent down a support team to evacuate Vault 13 residents before the Deathclaws could be attracted to the noise of the vault opening. If it hadn't been for the Enclave, the Deathclaws would have torn the vault dwellers apart. As it happens, the Deathclaws did nest in Vault 13, and it was thanks to an Enclave force that the vault was purged. The chosen one, who supposedly saved the Arroyo villagers and Vault 13 dwellers, arrived just before the Enclave could return the dwellers back to Vault 13 and the surrounding area. Now, why would New Arroyo, founded by both the villagers of Arroyo and Vault 13 residents, concoct this story about Enclave abuse? I honestly have no idea. Maybe their chosen one forced them into saying it, or else he'd withhold the geck that made their community possible. Maybe it's just been repeated so many times they actually do believe it. Regardless of their motives, their slander has damaged the Enclave's reputation that people regard us with fear and suspicion, and that's not right. The Enclave is on your side, people of America. The Enclave is on the side of truth, justice, and the American way. Don't fear us. Embrace us. Don't worry, America. We're from the government. We're here to help.
Let Bacchus' sons be not dismayed, but join with me each jovial way. Come booze and sing and let your ring to help me with the chorus. Instead of spa, we'll drink down there and pay the reckoning on the nail. No man for that shall go to jail from Gary Owen in glory. We are the
boys who take delight in smashing the Limerick light at night, and through the streets like sportsters fight, and tearing all before us.
He said a star will drink down ale, and pay the reckoning on the nail. No man for that shall go to jail, from Gary Owen in glory.
We'll break windows, we'll break doors, the watch knocked down by 3 10 floors, then let the doctors work their cures, and tinker up our bruises.
He said a star will drink down ale, and pay the reckoning on the nail. No man for that shall go to jail, from Gary Owen in glory.
We'll beat the bailiffs out of fun, we'll make the mayors and sheriffs run. We are the boys no man dares ton, if he regards a whole skin.
Instead a star will drink down ale, and pay the reckoning on the nail. No man for that shall go to jail, from Gary Owen in glory. Our hearts so stout have got us fame, for soon 'tis known from whence we came. Where'er we go they tread the name of Gary Owen in glory. Instead a star will drink down ale, and pay the reckoning on the nail. No man for that shall go to jail, from Gary Owen in glory.
If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe so that you will not miss the next one. And as always, have a historic day. See you next week.
My name is Alan Morgan. I'm the host of Enclave Radio, and I'd just like to say how proud I am to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And you know what? I'm not going to forget the men who died that gave that right to me. I will gladly stand up next to each and every one of you and defend her still today, because there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the Enclave.
There's a feeling comes a stealing, and it sets my brain a-reeling when I'm listening to the music of a military band. Any tune like Yankee Doodle simply sets me off my noodle. It's a patriotic something that no one can understand. Way down south in the land of cotton, I love her wherever I may be. 'Cause I love the bonny blue gal who gave her heart to me. Her arms are where I wanna be. 'Cause I love the bonny blue gal who gave her heart to me. She's got a lot of heaven a-shining in her eyes, brighter than the stars above and bluer than the skies. And everything about her suits me to a T. I live for the bonny blue gal who gave her heart to me. Her arms are where I wanna be. 'Cause I love the bonny blue gal who gave her heart to me. No matter where I travel, she's with me all the way. Close to me within my heart through every night and day. As soon as I can make it, I'll hurry back to see my sweetheart, the bonny blue gal who gave her heart to me. Her arms are where I wanna be. 'Cause I love the bonny blue gal who gave her heart to me. I'm gonna quit my wandering, I'm gonna settle down. Find a little house for us way out beyond the town. I'm gonna get us in there and throw away the key. And love that bonny blue gal who gave her heart to me. Her arms are where I wanna be. 'Cause I love the bonny blue gal who gave her heart to me. Shannon side and purer than its water. But she refused to be my bride, though many a year I sought her. Yet since the day I rode away, her letters oft remind me I'll be returning from the fray to the girl I left behind me. France are fond and free, their lips are more than willing. How warm the maids of Italy and Spanish stars are thrilling. Oh, the English charm me with their smile, and yet they fail to find me. For my heart falls back to Erin's Isle, to the girl I left behind me. For she's as fair as Shannon's side and purer than its water. But she refused to be my bride, though many a year I sought her. Yet since the day I rode away, her letters oft remind me I'll be returning from the fray to the girl I left behind me. Charm me with their smile, and yet they fail to find me. For my heart falls back to Erin's Isle, to the girl I left behind me.
Zoom, 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 zoom. He was just a rookie trooper, and he surely shook with pride. He checked all his equipment and made sure his pack was tight. He had to sit and listen to those awful engines roar.
You ain't gonna jump no more. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. He ain't gonna jump no more. Zoom, 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 zoom.
Is everybody happy? Cried the sergeant, looking up. Our hero feebly answered yes, and then they stood him up. He jumped into the icy blast, his static line and hook,
and he ain't gonna jump no more. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. He ain't gonna jump no more. Zoom, 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 zoom.
He counted long, he counted loud, he waited for the shock. He felt the wind, he felt the cold, he felt the awful drop. The silk from his reserves spilled out and wrapped around his legs,
and he ain't gonna jump no more. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. He ain't gonna jump no more. Zoom, 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 zoom.
The riser swung around his neck, connectors cracked his dome. Suspension lines were tied in knots around his skinny bones. The canopy became his shroud, he hurtled to the ground,
and he ain't gonna jump no more. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. He ain't gonna jump no more. Zoom, 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 zoom.
For days he lived and loved and laughed kept running through his mind. He thought about the girl back home, the one he left behind.
He thought about the medicos and wondered what they'd find.
And he ain't gonna jump no more. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. He ain't gonna jump no more. Zoom, 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 zoom.
The ambulance was on the spot, the jeeps were running wild. The medics jumped and screamed with glee, rolled up their sleeves and smiled. For it had been a week or more since last the shoot had failed.
And he ain't gonna jump no more. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. He ain't gonna jump no more. Zoom, 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 zoom.
He hit the ground, the sound was splat, his blood went spurting high. His comrades, they were heard to say, a hell of a way to die. He lay there rolling round in the welter of his gore.
And he ain't gonna jump no more. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. He ain't gonna jump no more. There was blood upon the risers, there were brains upon the shoes. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marines. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our country's battles on the land as on the sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marine.
Oh, all to the borders, Vermonters, come down with your breeches of deerskin and jackets of brown, with your red woolen caps and your moccasins. Come to the gathering summons of trumpet and drum. Come down with your rifle, let gray wolf and fox howl on in the shadow of primitive rocks. Let bear feed securely from pig pen and stall. Here's two-legged game for your powder and ball. And cheer, cheer, the Green Mountaineer. And cheer, cheer, the Green Mountaineer. On the south came the Hessians, our land to police, and armed for the battle while canting of peace. On our east came the British, the red-coated band, to hang up our leaders and eat up our land. Oh, all to the rescue, for Satan shall work. No gain for the legions of Hampshire and York. They claim our possession, the pitiful knaves. The tribute we pay shall be prisons and graves. And cheer, cheer, the Green Mountaineer. And cheer, cheer, the Green Mountaineer. We owe no allegiance, we bow to no throne. Our ruler is law, and the law is our own. Our leaders themselves are our own fellow men, who can handle the sword and the scythe and the pen. Hurrah for Vermont, for the land that we till must have sons to defend her from valley and hill. Our vow is recorded, our banner unfurled. In the name of Vermont we defy all the world. And cheer, cheer, the Green Mountaineer. And cheer, cheer, the Green Mountaineer. And cheer, cheer, the Green Mountaineer.
the Lord. Praise the Lord. And pass the ammunition. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. And pass the ammunition. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. And pass the ammunition. And we'll all stay free. Praise the Lord. And pass the ammunition. Praise the Lord. And pass the ammunition. Praise the Lord. And pass the ammunition. And we'll all stay free.
My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. My native country, thee, land of the noble free, thy name I love. I love thy rocks and rills, thy woods and temple hills. My heart with rapture thrills like that above.
I'm going back to Dixie, I'm going back to Dixie, I'm going where the orange blossoms grow. For I hear my darling calling, I see her sad tears falling, my heart is down in Dixie and I must go. I'm going back to Dixie, I'm going back to Dixie, I'm going where the orange blossoms grow. For I hear the old folks calling, I see the sad tears falling, my heart is down in Dixie and I must go. Oh, I wish I was in the land of cotton, old times there are not forgotten. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland, in Dixieland where I was born in early on the frosty morning. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. Then I wish I was in Dixie, hooray, hooray. In Dixieland I'll take my stand to live and die in Dixie. Away, away, away down south in Dixie. Away, away, away down south in Dixie. There's buckwheat cakes and Injun batter makes you fat or a little fatter. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. Then hold it down and scratch your gravel to Dixieland. I'm out to travel. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. Then I wish I was in Dixie. Hooray, hooray. In Dixieland I'll take my stand to live and die in Dixie. Away, away, away down south in Dixie. Away, away, away down south in Dixie.
In the army of the Union we are marching in the van, and we'll do the work before us if the bravest soldiers can. We will drive the rebel forces from their strongholds to the sea, and we'll live and die together in the army of the free. We may rust beneath inaction, we may sink beneath disease,
The summer sun may scorch us or the winter blast may freeze, but whatever may befall us, we will let the rebels see that unconquered we will still remain the army of the free.
The army of the free, the army of the free. Unconquered we shall still remain the army of the free.
We have Butterfield the daring and we've Martindale the cool. Where could we learn the art of war within a better school? Add Morrell to the list of names and we must all agree we have the finest generals in the army of the free.
The army of the free, the army of the free. We have the finest generals in the army of the free.
Then hurrah for our division, may it soon be called to go, to add its strength to those who have advanced to meet the foe. God bless it, for we know right well wherever it may be, 'twill never fail to honor our great army of the free.
The army of the free, the army of the free.
Will never fail to honor our great army of the free.
This is the G.I. Jive, man alive. It starts with the bugler blowing reveille over your bed when you arrive. Jack, that's the G.I. Jive. Roodle-de-toot, jump in your suit, make a salute. Voot! After you wash and dress, more or less, you go get your breakfast in a beautiful little cafe they call the Mess. Jack, when you convalesce, out of your seat, into the street, make with the feet. Reet! If you're a PVT, your duty is to salute the L-I-E-U-T. But if you brush the L-I-E-U-T, the MP makes you KP on the QT. This is the G.I. Jive, man alive. They give you a private tank that features a little device called fluid drive. Jack, after you revive, chunk all your junk back in the trunk, fall on your bunk, clunk. This is the G.I. Jive, man alive. They give you a private tank that features a little device called a fluid drive. Jack, if you still survive, chunk all your junk back in the trunk, fall on your bunk, clunk. Soon you're counting Jeeps, but before you count to 5, seems you're right back digging that G.I. Jive.
again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Keep smiling through, just like you always do, till the blue skies drive the dark clouds far away. So will you please say hello to the folks that I know? Tell them I won't be long. They'll be happy to know that as you saw me go, I was singing this song. We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
Smiling Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Here they come, zooming to meet our thunder, and the boys give her the gun. Down we dive, spouting a flame from under, off with one heck of a roar. We live in fame, go down in flame, nothing will stop the Army Air Corps. Down we dive, spouting a flame from under, up with one heck of a roar. We live in fame, go down in flame, nothing will stop the Army Air Corps.
Anchors aweigh, my boys, anchors aweigh. Farewell to college joy, we sail at break of day. Through our last night on shore, sing to the foam, until we meet once more. Is wishing you a happy voyage home. Lean on America, Yankees away. Let freedom's anvils ring, we'll forge a glorious day. Steel piles on steel, my boys, gun after gun. Lean on America, we'll stick until the victory is won. Hang on
In 1814 we took a little trip along with Colonel Jackson down the mighty Mississippi. We took a little bacon and we took a little beans, and we caught the bloody British in a town in New Orleans. We fired our guns and the British kept a-coming. There wasn't as many as there was a while ago. We fired once more and they began to run it on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. We looked down the river and we see the British come, and there must have been 100 of them beating on the drum. They stepped so high and they made the bugles ring. We stood beside our cotton bales and didn't say a thing. We fired our guns and the British kept a-coming. There wasn't as many as there was a while ago. We fired once more and they began to run it on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Old Hickory said we could take them by surprise if we didn't fire muskets till we looked them in the eye. We held our fire till we see their faces well, then we opened up our squirrel guns and really gave them well. We fired our guns and the British kept a-coming. There wasn't as many as there was a while ago. We fired once more and they began to run it on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, they ran through the briars and they ran through the brambles and they ran through the bushes where a rabbit couldn't go. They ran so fast that the hounds couldn't catch them on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. We fired our cannon till the barrel melted down, so we grabbed an alligator and we fought another round. We filled his head with cannonballs and powdered his behind, and when we touched the powder off, the gator lost his mind. We fired our guns and the British kept a-coming. There wasn't as many as there was a while ago. We fired once more and they began to run it on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, they ran through the briars and they ran through the brambles and they ran through the bushes where a rabbit couldn't go. They ran so fast that the hounds couldn't catch them on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico.
In the southern part of Texas, in the town of San Antonio, is a fortress all in ruins that the weeds have overgrown. You may look in vain for crosses and you'll never see a one, but sometimes between the setting and the rising of the sun, you can hear a ghostly bugle as the men go marching by. You can hear them as they answer to that roll call in the sky. Colonel Travis, Davy Crockett, and 180 more, Captain Dickinson, Jim Bowie, present and accounted for. Back in 1836, Houston said to Travis, get some volunteers and go fortify the Alamo. Well, the men came from Texas and from old Tennessee, and they joined up with Travis just to fight for the right to be free. Indian scouts with squirrel guns, men with muzzle loaders, stood together heel and toe to defend the Alamo. You may ne'er see your loved ones, Travis told them that day. Those who want to can leave now, those who fight to the death, let them stay. In the sand he drew a line with his army saber. Out of 185, not a soldier crossed the line. With his banners a-dancing in the dawn's golden light, Santa Anna came prancing on a horse that was black as the night. Sent an officer to tell Travis to surrender. Travis answered with a shell and a rousing rebel yell. Santa Anna turned scarlet, played to Guelo, he roared, I will show them no quarter, everyone will be put to the sword. 185, holding back 5,000. 5 days, 6 days, 8 days, 10, Travis held and held again. Then he sent for replacements for his wounded and lame. But the troops that were coming never came, never came, never came. Twice he charged, then blew recall. On the fatal third time, Santa Anna breached the wall, and he killed them one and all. Now the bugles are silent, and there's rust on each sword, and the small band of soldiers lie asleep in the arms of the Lord. In the southern part of Texas, near the town of San Antonio, like a statue on his pinto rides a cowboy all alone. And he sees the cattle grazing where a century before Santa Anna's guns were blazing and the cannons used to roar. And his eyes turn sort of misty and his heart begins to glow, and he takes his hat off slowly to the men of Alamo, to the 13 days of glory at the siege of Alamo.
Fighting soldiers from the sky, fearless men who jump and die, men who mean just what they say, the brave men of the Green Beret, silver wings upon their chest. These are men, America's best. 100 men will test today, but only 3 win the Green Beret. Trained to live off nature's land, trained in combat hand to hand, men who fight by night and day, courage take from the Green Beret, silver wings upon their chest. These are men, America's best. 100 men will test today, but only 3 win the Green Beret. Back at home, a young wife waits. Her Green Beret has met his fate. He has died for those oppressed, leaving her this last request. Put silver wings on my son's chest. Make him one of America's best. He'll be a man they'll test one day. Have him win the Green Beret. After the battle, after the fight, many owe their lives to the ladies and men in white. And all of the men in this war-torn land salute the nurses of Vietnam. They know the awful toll of war each day. They know more than any the price we pay. A soldier, his hands too burned to write. A nurse takes down his words through the lonely night. They have gone to the front where men fought in the night. From Pleiku to Queen Yan, where war these men fight. Many a wounded soldier's pain is eased for a while by opening his eyes to see a nurse's smile. To each of the wounded on the operating shelf, these nurses give a part of themselves. I know every soldier to the last man will sometimes say a prayer for the nurses of Vietnam. After the battle, after the fight, many owe their lives to the ladies and men in white. And all of the men in this war-torn land salute the nurses of Vietnam.
John Paul Jones was a little boy, he pointed to the sea, said, when I get to be a man, a fighting man I'll be. I'll leave my mark on the ocean and my name in history. When John Paul was a member of the British Admiralty, he killed a sailor on his ship, which was a crime, you see. He changed his name to J.P. Jones and came to America. He fought in the rain and he fought in the sun and he fought in the moonlight too. He fought with his knife and he fought with his gun and he fought till his blood ran blue. But John Paul Jones was a fighting man was he. He sailed to the east and he sailed to the west and he helped set America free. John Paul was a captain in the U.S. Naval Band, fighting for the glory and the freedom of our land. He made those British captains wish that they were on dry land. He sent their mighty vessels to the bottom of the sea. He took their bags of treasure and he sank their chest of tea. He gave his blood for all free men and his life for liberty. He fought in the rain and he fought in the sun and he fought in the moonlight too. He fought with his knife and he fought with his gun and he fought till his blood ran blue. But John Paul Jones was a fighting man was he. He sailed to the east and he sailed to the west and he helped set America free. He fought in the rain and he fought in the sun and he fought in the moonlight too. He fought with his knife and he fought with his gun and he fought till his blood ran blue. John Paul Jones was a fighting man was he. He sailed to the east and he sailed to the west and he helped set America free.
In May of 1941, the war had just begun. The Germans had the biggest ship that had the biggest guns. The Bismarck was the fastest ship that ever sailed the sea. On her decks were guns as big as steers and shells as big as trees. Out of the cold and foggy night came the British ship, the Hood. And every British seaman, he knew and understood. They had to sink the Bismarck, the terror of the sea. Stop those guns as big as steers and those shells as big as trees. We find that German battleship that's making such a fuss. We gotta sink the Bismarck cause the world depends on us.
Hit the decks are running, boys, and spin those guns around.
But when we find the Bismarck, we gotta cut her down. The Hood found the Bismarck, and on that fatal day,
the Bismarck started firing 15 miles away.
We gotta sink the Bismarck, was the battle sound. But when the smoke had cleared away, the mighty Hood went down. For 6 long days and weary nights, they tried to find her trail. Churchill told the people, put every ship a sail. 'cause somewhere on that ocean I know she's gotta be. We gotta sink the Bismarck to the bottom of the sea. We find that German battleship that's making such a fuss. We gotta sink the Bismarck 'cause the world depends on us.
Hit the decks are running, boys, and spin those guns around.
When we find the Bismarck, we gotta cut her down. The fog was gone the 7th day and they saw the morning sun.
10 hours away from homeland, the Bismarck made its run.
The admiral of the British fleet said, turn those bows around. We found that German battleship and we're gonna cut her down. The British guns were aimed and the shells were coming fast.
The first shell hit the Bismarck, they knew she couldn't last. That mighty German battleship
is just a memory. Sink the Bismarck was the battle cry that shook the 7 seas. We found that German battleship was making such a fuss. We had to sink the Bismarck 'cause the world depends on us.
We hit the deck a-running and we spun those guns around. Yeah,
we found that mighty Bismarck and we cut her down. We found that German battleship was making such a fuss. We had to sink the Bismarck 'cause the world depends on us.
We hit the deck a-running and we spun those guns around.
We found that mighty